Now, just up ahead, you see a sign that says the Foley House Inn. And Miss Foley has a bad reputation here in Savannah because in the early 20th century, after her husband died, she started taking in boarders to make ends meet. And the legend goes that if during the course of her cleaning the room she found that one of the guests was storing a large amount of money or valuables away, she might decide to enlist the help of the carpenter who lived upstairs in the attic, and they'd kill the guy and plaster him in one of the walls. But that's kind of unfair to Miss Foley because, I mean, she only did that once. It wasn't like she made a habit of it or anything. At least not that we can prove. And she may have had good reason for killing her guest that one time. According to the original legend, the guy tried to force himself on her. He'd gone out on a date with her at the behest of her friends because he was a well-to-do man from up north. And she had basically rejected him. He found out later that she was seeing the carpenter who was earning his room and board at the Foley house for renovation work. And he tried to have his way with her while the carpenter was away from work. So Miss Foley beat him with a brass candlestick until he stopped moving. And when her carpenter got home from work, he finished the job, plastered him in the wall, earned his renovation room and board. And for years since then, people who stay at the inn report stuff that sounds right out of an Edgar Allan Poe short story. They hear scratching in the walls, heartbeats, whispers, people in the floor above moving furniture around, or people running around and laughing in the next room, even when no one is staying in the room, even when no one's staying in the floor up above. But there were always people in Savannah who believed all this was just hallucination and talk, stories to demonize a poor old lady after her husband had died. And people wondered, why was there no investigation of a murder? Well, the truth is, there wouldn't have been much of an investigation of a murder because Miss Foley's husband was a former, while in life, high-up member of the Irish Mafia that pretty much ruled Georgia back then, definitely Savannah. And if anybody from up north came looking from one of their salespeople who went missing, they weren't going to get very far in Savannah. But in the early 1980s, they did do some renovations on the inn, and they tore through one of the walls, and sure enough, a skeleton, or pieces of a skeleton, and a skull fell right out on the floor after having been embedded there for ages.